gonna put you on the spot here, Zach. Okay,
Yeah.
you are first in the first press conference there. You get the first question to ask Micah whatever you want to ask him. What are you asking him?
That's a
And
good
then I'm
one.
gonna have Aaron respond as though he's Micah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to get ready.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the debut episode of the Inner Circle podcast, where we have every corner covered. Zach Klein, Todd France, Aaron Donald, Matt Ryan. Gentlemen, there's a lot of hot take, hire and fire podcasts, TV shows out there. This is not one of them. We're not diving in X and O's each and every week. We are going to have, insights and stories from two of the best that ever played the game, one of the most respected and dominant agents out there. And I'll try to steer this ship and provide some insight into the world of media. But we're going to have amazing guests. We're going to hear from other players, coaches, agents, general managers, those in marketing and music, entertainment. Looking forward to having a lot of fun, guys. You're busy. You're both family men. Your guys are running around. Matt, Aaron, what are you looking to get out of this? What do you want our audience to know about this show and you guys particular?
Yeah, listen, I've got 3 young boys, twins that are 7, a little 2-year-old son, and I think my wife told me she needed me out of the house more. I was around too much and needed some space. I screw things up when I'm at home, so that's why I settled on the 3 of you guys. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think Zach, you kind of mentioned it at the beginning. It's something unique and different, right? And I haven't seen anything out there where you've got an offensive, defensive player, an agent, that perspective. Somebody who's been, on the media side of it for 20 plus years. And so I'm looking forward to chatting with these guys. Zach, I know you really well. Todd, I know you really well. Aaron, I played against you for a long time, but don't know you quite as well. So looking forward to hearing the stories, looking forward to hearing your perspective and just chopping it up with you guys. But I think it's something fresh. I think it's something different. And, looking forward to kind of spending the season and seeing how this goes.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on top of the head. Having some fun doing this. I'm excited about the untold stories, though. I think that our listeners is going to enjoy that. You get it firsthand from offensive side, defensive side, to the agent side, even to the media side. Like you said, it's every corner covered, right? And we're not missing none. So I'm excited about doing this, man, and see where it goes. So let's have some fun doing this shit, man.
I love when Aaron and I were talking about this and doing the show and whether it made sense or what. And Aaron's like, I've been hit up by everybody for podcasts. He goes, but this just gives me chills thinking about kind of showing everybody and telling everybody things that they don't know, not the stuff that you see all over the place and you hear all over the place. So for me, it's amazing to be able to spend 45 minutes a week talking with Matt and Aaron and spending time with clients that not only do I, value as clients, but as friends. Been together a long time, and then obviously, the relationship with Zach. So excited to share that and bring people into the world of the agent side as well.
You guys transition from, your life on the football field to, Matt, obviously in broadcasting now. AD, you're a family man, keeping busy. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes.
A birthday guy,
Yeah.
celebrating the Donald household
Yeah,
today?
my 4-year-old, he turned 4 today. Eric, my middle boy, he turned 4 today, so I'm celebrating him.
All right, what were the presents? What did he get?
We actually had his birthday party yesterday. He got a bunch of shit. He's big into like animal, dinosaurs, baseball, new clothes, new shoes. So he got to have fun yesterday. So today's more like just hanging with the family. The grandparents came in town. So he really don't need nothing else, man. Damn, living room was filled with toys all over the place. So he don't need nothing. So we just enjoying him, let him eat some cake or something. So.
We've got the one gift in, one toy out, right? So if you get something new, something else has got to go.
It got to go because
you said it, man. There's too much shit that piles up in the house,
and then
and they don't need it.
It piles up in the living room. I'm like, why the living room?
Correct.
We got your bedroom, we got a playroom, but we got toys all over the place. I'm like, golly, but that's
got the playroom that no one plays in.
Exactly, and that's just being the father of 4, I guess. So just getting used to
right.
that. So
Training camp going on everywhere, right? Do you guys remember what was your first training camp moment like? AD, what was that like in the transition, leaving Pitt into that first training camp moment?
My first training camp in St. Louis, I remember it was hot and humid as hell. I know that for a fact, but I'm just excited, man. Obviously, being a kid that dreamed about being in the NFL, the fast forward to becoming a first round draft pick when a lot of people said, he ain't the biggest guy. I don't think he can be able to transition what you did in college and in the pros. He's only 6'1", and just go there, be confident. I remember walking to the locker room, seeing Chris Long, Robert Quinn, them guys we had already. We wasn't the best team, but there was a lot of good guys you see that you respected from what they did, from just watching as a kid, right? So I was excited, a little nervous at the same time because it's like, it's new, right? You transition to something new, obviously going to Pitt, accomplishing things, and then it's like, all right, now you're in the pros. Now you playing with grown-ass men that got families to feed, and just going in with the mindset, man, don't change nothing out that I, did in college, just transitioned that to the NFL, had that same confidence, that same mindset, and went in there mean, making plays, and got in a bunch of fights too, so.
What'd you guys do? Did you guys go away for training camp at that point, or did you stay right there at the facility?
We were right there at the facility, right where we practice at all year round, and we was just there grinding, hot as hell, sweating, humid. That's the one thing I didn't want to do when I was like, I just don't want to go nowhere where it's hot and humid. They said St. Louis. I'm like, oh, we cool. It ain't that hot out there, is it? I went out there. I said, God damn, man. It's so hot and humid, but.
Dude, so I went from training camps up in Boston when I was at BC, right? And so like a hot day up there, you're probably in the mid 80s, but there's very little humidity.
That's beautiful.
But most days we practice in the morning. It's like 78 degrees. It's beautiful weather for training camp. And then same reaction, man. I got to Flowery Branch. And we were like in whatever the first day of pads was, might have been like third day of training camp. And we had doubles at the time. So we're in the morning and then the afternoon. We went to the afternoon practice. I was dying out there. Just never hit the humidity like that before in my life, man. That was the biggest adjustment for me, was getting used to the southern heat.
Hey, when you guys got to camp, like your first camp, did you guys have roommates and all that type of stuff, or did you guys stay in your own spot? How did that work?
So I had roommates. We stayed in a hotel, and my roommate was Trey Mason. He was he got drafted he came from Auburn. So my roommate was Trey Mason. It was cool. But I'm a guy that like my own space.
It doesn't seem that cool. Your response. It didn't seem that cool.
Because I'm a guy. I like my own space, man. I'm like real to myself, and like I like to, when I'm done with football, I like to watch my film in my room by myself. So it was kind of like, I used the bathroom. He used the bathroom. It's a little uncomfortable, man. I like my own space. I don't want nobody to be shitting the same where I shit. So that's all that was. So.
We had a great setup, man. In Atlanta, we had unreal setup behind there, right? Like right in Flowery Branch, Arthur Blank had built these kind of dorms, townhomes right behind there. And so our setup was, we kind of had this 4-bedroom apartment, and you were with 3 other guys, and but you had your own bedroom. So it was kind of cool. It was like, you get your own space if you need it, but if you want to hang out and play cards, and everything was kind of together, which was nice. But I couldn't imagine, honestly, looking back at it now, here I am, I'm 40 years old. I couldn't imagine going to a training camp now and having somebody else in the room while you're trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Like,
and then
you got to get out of here. I got to get my rest. I got to get ready.
Just imagine when another grown ass man snoring like hell. You like, God, leave, man.
It's terrible.
Horrible.
It's terrible.
I hated it. So
was it always like that? Did you graduate and eventually earn your own room?
Yeah, eventually as you become a little veteran, a little older, they give you your own room. But
that's right.
I ain't gonna lie.
You start sacking the quarterback, you get your own room.
My rookie year, what we did, we wasn't allowed to do this, so I used to sneak out because I had got me an apartment. So I already had my apartment. So I used to climb. You can get out the window and jump on the roof through a ladder. And I used to jump to the driveway to get to my car. And I used to drive to my own apartment. I couldn't do it, man. I needed my own space.
I would have loved to have seen the security footage of that. Your big ass climbing over the fence.
I want to go on the record. That is against the advice of anything I would ever tell you to do. We never discussed that. That was never part of any strategy.
Only person that
it's good to hear it now after the fact.
Only person that know I did that was.
I had the same thing. Honestly, Harry Douglas, former teammate of mine, has told this story. But so we were rookies, and when I retired and had my jersey retired by the Falcons, they did this little event, and Harry hosted it. And Mike Smith, our first coach, was there. And Harry got on stage and was like, "You know what, Smitty, you can't find us, so I'm going to tell this little story about training camp when we were rookies." He gave the vets the night off, but the rookies were supposed to stay. And we did like bed check at 11 o'clock, whatever it was. And both me and Harry waited until about like 11:45, walked right across the field, got into our cars and drove home and slept in our own beds, man. It was a game changer.
It's fantastic.
Did you guys, how often, like when you guys played, obviously, and both retired now, how often did you guys take work home after the fact? Like when you went back, football's over for the day, you're going home, we're past training camp, we're just in the season, whatever. How often do you take it home?
Well, I couldn't imagine what it was for a quarterback. For me, it was every day. It wasn't like I was never like, you leave the facility and you done with football. I was like, you taking film home, doing all this other stuff to take care. And then as I got older, taking care of your body was like key to be able to make it every single week. But for me, I was always into the film, man, studying myself, studying my opponents. Definitely when I came in as a rookie, I had to make a cut up of like Warren Sapp, John Randall, Leroy Glover, Geno Atkins, guys that was like similar to like my body size, my body type, shorter defensive lineman that had success, just to see what worked for them. So I was always just studying. And sometimes I would even leave the house and go back to the facility and be back in there by myself, even doing cold tub, hot tub, sauna, steam room, and just studying film. So I was truly committed to it, man. And that's why, it was a true commitment. Football wasn't like, okay, you here for 5 hours or 6 hours, whatever it is, and you done. It was like, you there, and then after that, you got to keep working. To be where you want to be, you got to work and be consistent at it. So,
yeah, I mean, I was really the same way too. Like, I remember going home on like a Wednesday or a Thursday, whatever night, and having, the game plan laid out in front of us. And I used to have to like memorize the plays, right? So if things got screwed up coming into your headset, you had to be able to rattle off the rest of the play without hearing it. So my wife would have the call sheet out, and she would say the formation, she'd be like, all right, we're in 3rd and 2 to 5. Sarah Ryan can rip off some play calls, man. She'd be sitting there like, we're in 11 personnel. It's on the left hash. We're in 3rd and 2 to 5. We're in, 11 Julio personnel. What are we doing? And we've got 3 formations, 3 plays, rip them off. And if I got them wrong, she'd be all over me, man. Like if you didn't get a tag right or something like that. So it was.
Why isn't she coaching your little boys in flag football then, huh?
She should be. My record's terrible right now. I think we had one or 2 wins last year in flag football. So I got to start winning some football games. I got to tell you a funny story about that. So I ran into Mike Smith, who was my first coach, last September, and we were kind of chopping it up, talking to him, and I was telling him that I was coaching my boys in flag football. And Smitty, deadpan, I mean, Zach, you know him well. Todd, you know him. AD, you probably don't know him as well. But, like, I love Smitty, but he's not one for, like, chit-chat, right? He cuts right to the point, and we're going to get straight to it. So I tell him I'm coaching my boys in flag football, and he looks dead at me, and he's like, what's your record? I'm like, what's my record? Smitty, there's 6, right? Like, we're trying to teach them how to play. We're trying to teach them the rules, all this. He's like, no, really, what's your record? At that time, we were like 0-5. And he was like, 0-5, huh? Not very good coach, Matt. Not a very good coach. Stick to playing.
Smitty, always getting right to the point, and you do got to improve that record. What about Todd? You, I mean, games are over. Are you checking your phone? Guys hitting you up, late at night, and when can you go to sleep when it's game day? How does it work with you?
It's not just game day; it's game week. It's everything. It's 24/7. Unfortunately, it's all the time, and it's all year long. The NFL cycle is all season. You never know when a guy's going to be traded. You never know when a new deal's getting done. You never know if someone, that you read in the media, something happened to a player or whatever it may be. So you're always, I guess, on call and always thinking something might go down or waiting. And because of the news cycle, it's just always something. And when you have a bunch of players, everything's sort of a ripple effect. And like my wife will be like, why are you looking at Twitter? Like, you look at Twitter because at any given moment, something happens. Let's just say you're working on a contract for one player and another player at that same position got done. You want to know that in a timely manner so you can proactively reach out to your guy and share with him what the details of that deal are once you get it and stuff. So it's just like always something happening. So I don't, unfortunately, never turn off.
So how do you stay sharp though, man? Like if you've got no time to take for yourself, right? Or there's just no break in the action. What are your little pockets throughout the day? Where do you carve out time for yourself to stay, number one, in such great shape? I would see you in the gym, working out in the mornings, but also just like mentally to be fresh, to be ready to go, and provide great advice like you do for the athletes.
It's really, you nailed it in the working out part. It's early in the morning working out, and it's not to look good. It's to just stay in shape and mentally free your mind. And I mean, I don't even put the TV on or any of that kind of stuff. Although I did, I guess, for about a 2-year window, have the TV on constantly when ESPN was talking about Dak and all that type of stuff, and that was real frustrating to pay attention to. But I did get in really good shape because I'd work out even harder listening to all the videos. So, really early in the morning, and then when it is time to crash and I do lay down, my head hits the pillow, I'm out. I mean, it's quick, and so there isn't a lot of downtime. When I am with the family, I do my hardest to try to, like, maybe during that 30, 45-minute window of dinner with the family, try not to be staring at the phone, try to put it away for 45 minutes, that type of thing. But it's hard to be present. It's something I'm always working on because obviously, you have a bunch of players and a bunch of stuff and you want to be there for all the guys and things happen all the time. So you never know. And so, yeah, it's tough, but you just got to figure it out and make it happen. Just like you guys, it's tough for you guys to do what you do. But some way we kind of rise to the top with it.
Zach, how about you, man? I'm always curious, you talk about the news cycle and all that for us and the 24/7 just kind of life that it's just nonstop. One of the things I found challenging, transitioning from playing into media is kind of that, right? Like when you're playing, you really are only focused on the opponent you're going against, the defense you're going against, that kind of thing. And you don't really consume the NFL from like the total picture. But from the media standpoint, it's like, okay, you're 24/7 on the Atlanta Falcons being in the Atlanta, in the Atlanta market. There's a million different stories and directions you can go. Like, how do you prioritize the stories you want to tell, right? And go with?
But Zach, before you even answer that, like, look, how Woj from ESPN retired, and one of the quotes I saw from him, he was like, I was just sick and tired of showering, or whatever, having my phone by me when I'm showering because there's always something breaking. And that was obviously national news and NBA, but in your world, it's not just Falcons. It's United, it's Hawks, it's Georgia football, Georgia Tech. It's, all sports all the time. And while you're not necessarily breaking news all the time, you got to be on top of it.
Well, the breaking news is so important to what you do because, everybody doesn't need to wait up until 11 o'clock anymore to find out if their team's won or lost. You can look at your phone. You can find the scores immediately. You can find the stats. You can find the highlights. So you need to have breaking news to offer credibility. You need to interview the athletes to get the sound, to bring them into your newscast. In our business, you get, especially at Channel 2 in Atlanta, the #1 ABC station in the country, you got to be.
Look at that shameless plug. I love it. I love it.
Hey, half the people on this podcast are still working. So, I got to give them a little shameless plug.
I love it.
No, but listen, man, I'd rather be second and right than first and wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody out there remembers that. I mean, you mentioned Woj. I was fortunate enough that day to break that Luka Doncic and Trae Young weren't going to be on the Mavericks and Hawks respectively. We broke that at Channel 2. Nobody remembers that back 6-7 years ago. But if I got it wrong, people, Zach, he's the one that botched, the freaking Trae Young trade. So they remember when you're wrong. They don't remember when you're right. So it's about credibility. It's about, doing it the right way. It's about trustworthiness. And, the hardest part of the job on the local front is you develop relationships like I have with you, Matt, over the years. And then it's a tough game and you got to ask tough questions. But that's the hardest part on the local front is developing relationships with guys. And then when it comes to business and it's go time, pushing them, trying to get them to talk, trying to get them to open up and be honest and be accountable for what just happened.
You guys obviously deal with the media all the time. Matt, specifically, I'm sure you have stories with Zach and him in the locker room, but how difficult is it to deal with the media all the time? After a game, win or lose, good game, bad game, always having to have them right there in your face and deal with all that.
I never liked it, honestly. Even like the good games, I don't mind talking about the good. It's the bad games and the games that I felt like it wasn't the best game for me, but you got to go out there and you got to speak about it. But it come with the job, man. It's even if you don't want to do it, like after losing the Super Bowl for me, that first one, like having to do media and sit there and talk about that shit, I'm like, I just wanted to go hide in the damn, put myself in a box and not be bothered. I ain't want to be on social media. I ain't want to, but I had to go there and keep my head held high, talk about what I got to do better next time I make it there and get the opportunity to play in another Super Bowl and things like that. It ain't easy, but it comes with the territory. It's a part of the job. Even if you don't want to do it, you still got to, guys, everybody got to do their job, right? So you still got to answer the tough questions when you don't want to do it, right? So.
Now, Matt did it. He spoke twice. I mean, you probably did twice a week as well. Were you the mandatory guy during there with the Rams? We spoke on a Wednesday or Thursday, and then also game day. So, man, we talked to Matt every single Wednesday and every single game. Now, Matt, so you're on the other side now. Now, is that hard for you when a quarterback, makes a mistake, and can you call him out like that or different things? And I'm sure now you're like, now I know what Zach was feeling like back in the day, and kind of calling a spade a spade.
I always thought it was fair, to answer the tough questions. Like I felt like my role as quarterback, it was kind of like it's kind of like being the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, right? And sometimes you've got earnings reports that come out that aren't great, and you have to sit there and you have to explain, what is going on. But I always had the mindset of, you know what? I have a respect for what you're doing, Zach. You were asking the questions. D. Orlando Ledbetter, a number of different guys, right? That I spent 14 years asking me questions and getting to know. But I felt like I had a level of respect for the job that you guys had to do. And I think it worked both ways because I felt like I stood up to the music when it was tough and answered questions as best I could, but always with the mindset of protecting, the locker room, protecting the players, protecting the staff, protecting the organization. So I always felt that like weight and responsibility. But the criticism, like, I'm not going to say the criticism didn't bother me. You hear it, right? And you feel it, but it wasn't my main motivator. Like, I wasn't a bulletin board material, like looking for bulletin board material. I was kind of locked in, just focused on trying to do the best job I could do for the guys that were around me. That was kind of my motivation. Being on the other end of it now, though, I think I view it the same way having to criticize players or whatever. I view it the same way I viewed watching film on Mondays after a game, Aaron, right? Like, you would go in there, and if I would look at a play and say, listen, I got to make that throw, right? The protection's good enough. The route was perfect. The ball was bad, right? Like, that's a critique I would make for myself, writing my notes and getting ready for the next week. And I think really good commentary is the same thing, right? It's fair and critical when it needs to be, and it's complimentary in the right ways when it needs to be. And it hasn't been that hard. The one thing I pride myself on, though, in terms of wearing the analyst hat, is that I watch. I think it's huge, right? Because if I'm going to have an opinion or I'm going to have not a hot take, but just have a strong opinion about something, I feel like we owe it to the players, Aaron, or we owe it to the coaches to have watched all that you can, right? And to have reasons for why you're saying what you're saying. I think, sometimes you just see things that kind of come out of left field, and that would piss me off as a player. And I've kind of made this vow with myself that I'm never going to do that as an analyst.
You mentioned how hard it was after games to talk, but the fact that, you and your teammates and Matt and his teammates and everybody in professional sports, that's really all the journalists out there want, is the accountability to not only talk, obviously, when things are going well. If you could show up, Grady Jarrett was a great example of that. I know you, Todd, you represent Grady, was with the Falcons. He'd have an unbelievable game and he would talk. The defense might give up north of 30 points and he would talk. So that's, the accountability, showing up when it's good. Money, showing up when it's bad, that's all respect. But Todd, I mean, this is kind of you're stepping out of your comfort zone for you. I mean, you've been pretty, from what I can tell over the years. I know you do a couple of radio interviews here in Atlanta, but for the most part, you've been, media shy. Is that intentional, or was it intentional?
Yeah, it's very intentional. I prefer being behind the scenes and just working for the players. They're the ones that are in the public eye. Obviously, people do care about agents and that type of stuff. And this was just unique, to be able to do something like Zach Matt and Aaron kind of mentioned when we started this podcast, just the different perspective and doing something that's unique. That's what got me excited about it. And the most exciting part was just doing something with Matt and Aaron, and obviously you, Zach, just the friendships that I have with all of you guys. It makes it totally worth it. But so yeah, I am coming a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'll enjoy the process and love listening to all these stories for sure.
We got stories, man.
Yep. I wanted to ask you, Matt, so if we played on a Sunday, was you a guy that had to watch film that same night, or was you a guy that can be able to have a full night's sleep and watch it the next day? Because I know me personally, like after a game, I'm up all night. I'm watching film at least multiple times before I even get in the building. Then once I get in the building, I'm watching it a million times, and then watch it with my coach before we watch it as a team. Was you that type of guy too?
No, I would not watch on Sunday night, and the reason was, when I got into the league, we didn't have iPads, right? It didn't get pushed to your iPad via Wi-Fi, and so you didn't have the game tape on. Like, let me explain it to you this way. When I first started in the NFL, I had two different laptops that went home with me, and they got changed each week. So if I were playing the Rams one week, I would get that on Monday morning when I would come in, and I would take that laptop back, Sunday when I checked into, the locker room or whatever, they'd grab it, and I'd grab the Chiefs, laptop the next week, right? And so it changed so much when the iPad came around and the film could just get pushed to you right away. But my routine was never that. So when I started early on, my routine was to kind of chill out on Sunday night. And I got used to that, right? I got used to that rhythm of, hey, we play this game. I kind of know how I played. You have your feeling about how you played. But I would kind of decompress Sunday night. And whether that was a road game and hanging out playing cards, having fun on the back of a plane ride home with your teammates and kind of, chilling that way, or it was with family after home games of going to get dinner, relaxing, whatever. I just wasn't a big film guy on Sunday night, but I would get up early Monday morning and I would be in that facility, for 4 hours before everybody else to kind of grind away on that tape and to get started on the next week. But I kind of like putting it to bed Monday morning, but I chilled out Sunday night.
I wish I was able to do that, man. I was up all night. I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning.
No sleep after?
No sleep. Even if I played a good game, you watch the film, and it'd be the plays that I didn't do good at, and I just keep harping on, right? And there's games that I thought I played great in, and you watch the film, and be like, damn, I made a lot of fucking mistakes this game. And then I got to watch it multiple times, and the game just keep going through my head. It's the plays that I missed or I didn't make that it's like keep going in my head.
So what was the best way for you? Like, I'm always curious of this with players, right? You've got your mind racing, your mind is running. And what was your best way to get back to neutral, right? To get your brain back to neutral? Was it, watching that film, getting all of that out of the system so you could finally come down? Or was it, whatever it is?
It was, for me,
what was your process?
It was watching the film and then obviously being with my kids, spending time with my kids, and then, getting that father time with my wife, and then being hanging with my wife. But I had to watch the film. I watched the film one time, and then I go hang with the family. Then I go back to the office and watch it again, and then I break it down again. Then I go lay down, and it's probably 12 o'clock at night or something like that. And it's just in my head, just, oh, damn, I missed that. I'll have to get my ass up and go watch film again, right? So I wasn't a guy that can sleep after the game. My mind was always racing. Then I wake up early as hell off, probably like 3 hours of sleep. Be the first one in the building. Then I'll watch the film with my D-line coach, just me and him before we even watch it as a team. Because I just had to just break it down and be like, what you think I need to do better at this? I was just trying to always find ways to be better or some shit like that. So I wish I was able to relax. Even them games, it was even worse with the games I didn't do good in or we lost bad. Because now I'm mad, I'm grumpy, and then it's like, you got all the family there that want to just hang, and I'm like, I don't want to be bothered right now. Like, leave me alone.
I know I haven't seen you in 2 months.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming to the game.
I'm sorry.
Get the hell out of my
football was like
thinking about Aaron in his dorm room with his roommate, his first year in the league after a preseason game, just pacing back and forth, and he can't sleep.
But by that time, you got to think, we had an iPad, so I used to go back to the facility to watch the film at nighttime. So it can be late as hell.
Right.
You get pick the code and go in there. I'm in a meeting room just studying the film. So
that's what it takes. Todd, tell me about your process after games, right? We're kind of talking about us coming down from it. So you would watch myself play, you'd watch Aaron play, you're all day. What is your Sunday? What does your Sunday look like, right? You're gearing up for the first one this coming week, this coming Sunday. How many different guys are we representing right now that are in the NFL? Rough number. And then what does your Sunday look like watching all of that?
It's funny. So I have where all the different games on if I'm not at a game. But early on when I was an agent, when I was a little bit younger, and I had kids that were younger, and I was like, I had to take my daughters to a birthday party. And it was during a game time. And I was like, all right, I got enough people watching games. They're going to let me know if something's going on. So I just put my phone in my pocket, and I was like, it was very uncomfortable for me, but I had to be the dad and go do this for a little bit, and I'll catch the rest of the games after, because the birthday parties are an hour and a half long. So I'm there, and all of a sudden my phone is just buzz, buzzing. I'm like, oh God. And I just touched it, put it off, didn't look, buzz. It is going off so many times. Finally, I took my phone and I look at it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. It was the game where my client, Aqib Talib, was playing, I can't remember if he was on the Broncos at the time, playing Harry Douglas. And I want to say Harry was on the Titans, actually. And Harry did what they consider some sort of crackback block, something that wasn't good with the other team, right? So post-game, Aqib Talib in his interview says that he is going to fight Harry Douglas, and he's going to fight him at his agent's office. And so everyone, of course, is blowing me up because I represent both guys. And so Akib, I'm calling him after the game, and I'm trying to talk him off the ledge and say, no, HD is actually a really good guy.
You'd love him.
You would love him. He absolutely would love him. And then, of course, I'm calling Harry, and I'm like, Harry, you don't want to mess with Akib. I'm telling you. I love Akib. He's been at my wedding. He's amazing, but like he's not the guy you want to mess with. And so ultimately, it kind of fizzled, and it was good. But you have guys playing against each other. So everyone's like, well, who are you pulling for? I pull for individuals, not teams, and I pull for who it's going to impact contract-wise more than the other person. If Matt Ryan, you just got paid, and Aaron Donald's playing you, and we're trying to get him paid, you know what? I'm hoping
I
he has
knew
a good
you were
game.
always rooting for Aaron.
No. I didn't say I want the Rams to win. I don't care if the Rams lose 100-0, as long as Aaron has 5 sacks and 10 tackles for a lot. Like it's a great day, and Matt walked away healthy. I'm good. But that I am juggling and watching all the different games, and then talking to different guys afterwards because some guys are frustrated and some guys are fine, and just everyone has high expectations. I think that's kind of why you guys are who you are, is because your expectations of what you expect for yourself is so high, and so it's almost like, are you ever satisfied? And that leads me back to asking you guys something. Like Matt, you said you're on the car, on the plane ride home, you're playing cards in the back. A win or a loss on the road and you're flying back, is the mood on the plane totally different? Is it different if it's the beginning of the season versus the middle of the season? If you're a good team, not a good team, are different guys handle it different ways? Does it annoy you if you lost and everyone is like over here like just laughing around and playing like it's no big deal, as opposed to you who might take it more serious? How do you guys handle all that? And what were the plane rides like back?
Well, I mean, they were different, right? Obviously, after wins, it's great. Everybody comes on, and you're kind of celebrating that victory. Honestly, my favorite time in the NFL was the plane rides home after a road win, right? Because, in college, you play your games and everybody's still on campus, right? So everybody's hanging out after the games, and you're going out, you're doing whatever you're doing, but everybody's kind of hanging out. It's different in the NFL where like you play your home game, and say Aaron's my teammate. Aaron might have 20 family members in for that game. I might have 20 family members in. So you get that moment in the locker room after a home game win, and it's like, hey man, that was great. I got to rush out because we've got a dinner and we're going to spend time with them. And I haven't seen them in 3 weeks or a month or whatever it is. And I want to do that. But you're alone on the road, right? With just your teammates. And if you get on that bus, I would always get on bus 3 on the road. I would sit in the back of bus 3, and we had the same group that kind of sat in that spot. And so you would get on the back of that bus after a win, and you're hanging out, then you get on the plane, and we would play cards, and you were just enjoying it. Losses were completely different, right? Where you got on, and some are different, like you might have an early season loss that was a really well played game, and you fell just a little bit short, and you're getting on and you're pissed off. But at the same time, you say, you know what? All right, it's tough to win on the road in this league. Let's bounce back. Let's not hang our heads. Let's enjoy ourselves, get back home, get back to work tomorrow. But then there's times where you just get your ass beat. And those are quiet, man. Those, at least for us, those were quiet. And it would piss me off when guys,
on the side,
that they didn't kind of understand the gravity of some of the games, that we did lose. How about you, AD?
It's the same exact thing. But the thing that bothered me when like you said, if you was the game we played fucking horrible in, got our ass beat, now we got to take this long ass flight back home, and guys is I'm like, man, that used to get me so mad. Like I had to just put cause I don't know, like I'm a nice guy, but I got like a real mean side to me, and like I get a real aggressive when I want to put my hands.
I've seen it.
When I want to put my hands on somebody, so I got to be like, I used to just put my headphones on and put myself to sleep because I was just upset, mad, or watching film, and definitely when you seeing the film and the guys that's laughing, I just got beat a million times. I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? You ain't even did what you was supposed to do. So it's things like that, and like you said, when it's them good games you win, definitely them big games, like and you away, and then you having fun. Then them he highs is fun. Then that's when the coaches is coming up and they say their little things. That's you know what I'm saying. That's what you miss. I miss things like that when it pertains to like football and winning them big games like that.
Zach, I'm curious, because I've seen it. We're talking about game day experiences post game. Asking Todd a little bit about, kind of his routine on Sundays. I've gotten to see it from the media world a little bit of the time it takes to get ready to do a hit or to call a game or to do a show. I'm curious on your end, fall Saturdays and Sundays, doing Georgia, then covering the Falcons. What does like Friday through Monday look like on your end? And like, again, how do you stay sane, that time of the year?
It's crazy, man. It's wash, rinse, repeat. Just like you guys get into your schedule, just like Todd gets into his schedule, who he's got to contact, who he's got to call, who's got to make sure we're checking in. Just like you guys are going to the office on Monday. Every Monday I'm in Athens. We have an NIL deal with KJ Bolden, so I'm sitting down one-on-one with the All-American safety with him. Tuesday, you're going over to Georgia Tech. Wednesday, you're at Falcons talking to those guys there. Thursday, you might get a day off. Friday's high school football. Saturday, we got an hour-long pregame show, and then you got 8 hours of college football on ABC, and then we do a live SEC game day show that's coming out of prime time. Having the SEC on ABC has really changed a lot of things because, now Georgia football, I mean, Matt, in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, you said it.
I said it. Listen, I love the Falcons, and obviously I'm biased, but it is, college football rules the South. It rules the Southeast, and that's just kind of the way it is. So, I mean, we can be honest about that.
So when they're on your
I think
air,
that's fair.
Yeah, when they're on your air, like last year at Kentucky, at Alabama, at Texas, that's our lead-in going into our SEC live post-game show. The audience in Atlanta is 500,000 people. So if we lose half of that audience to watch our SEC show, you're talking about 250,000 people watching your show. That's what 4 Mercedes-Benz stadiums watching you guys on a Sunday. So the eyeballs are there, but then we turn it over the next day, and you want to be at the Falcon game early because that's what I know a lot of journalists pride themselves on is see and be seen. If you're going to ask a tough question or you're going to take a shot, make sure you go. And I love talking, to the players and the coaches or giving them a knuckle, pregame, saying hello, making that eye contact, showing you're visible on the field. Then you have the game. Then you're in the locker room afterwards. You're doing something for the 6 o'clock and the 11 o'clock and your late night Sunday show. So, and it's back into, Athens on Monday. So it's a wild week, but this is kind of what they pay you for. I love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. No, I'm definitely blessed to cover the Falcons. And then the Bulldogs. And then you mentioned, the Braves when they're good. And in 2021, you're covering them in the World Series. You got that mad run. And then Georgia's winning back-to-back national championships. So I think, we counted it up. Like in your world, there's not many off days. There's like 75 straight days, but it was an unbelievable run for sure.
I'm curious. So calling my first game for CBS, this is a couple of years ago, our play-by-play was Andrew Catalan, and he's awesome, fantastic, right? Really, really sharp, great when he's on air. But he does these vocal exercises before the game. And I'm sitting here, right, like getting ready to call my first game. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm sitting there, my headphones on. They're telling us we're like 30 seconds from being live. And he comes on and he's doing these like these vocal exercises. So I'm curious, what do you do, right? Like before a live hit, they're counting you down, they're counting in your ear, you're getting ready to go. Are you a vocal exercise guy? Are you yelling at the set? Like what is your kind of lead into going live?
You get nervous just like you guys would, but they're good feelings. They're good, when you're getting ready to broadcast in front of all these people, you take a deep breath and if the heart is not pumping and the juices aren't flowing, you don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But just like your craft guys, and if you're prepared, then you're ready to go. If I didn't cover, if I didn't read anything, if I didn't talk to anybody, and I start doing a 6 o'clock live shot, not knowing the hell what happened, I look like an ass. And
but get back to the answer. What are the voice exercises?
I don't do vocal exercises. I don't know.
I need to hear them.
No, I don't.
like for instance,
it's like a smelling
James
salt.
Brown.
Yeah.
James Brown. Before we come on, and JB is the best, right? Like an absolute legend. Maybe the greatest teleprompter reader I have ever seen in my life, right? Like unbelievable to start a show. And there's a lot of verbiage in there. But we're like 8 seconds out and he's in there. He's like, "Aya, aya," and then goes. And I'm sitting over there like laughing on the corner. I love it. But it's kind of my cue to get ready like, hey, we're coming in live.
No.
Do you do
none of it.
I'm going to start
you
doing
don't do
that.
anything. You just
Start
sit there.
doing
Like,
it.
No, I just go,
It worked
man.
for James Brown. It works for James
What
Brown.
you do, Matt? You do something? You started doing something?
No, because my voice is so bad, right? Like it cracks. It's all this stuff. I don't do any of the exercises beforehand. Tiki Barber used to sing a little bit. Like we had all kinds of weird stuff, and I'd just be sitting there quiet, like, oh my gosh, here we go.
That's your ritual for on set for TV. What did you guys have game day rituals for like a 1:00 game, Matt and AD? What did you have anything you were like habitual with, like whether it be music that you did, like
So
everything
we
like
sent
that?
out the outline. We're not going to lie. There was some kind of outline for this show, right? So we sent out the outline. I saw this one. I wrote out my little thing right here because I was maniacal about the timing of kind of my pregame routine. So I would whatever get up. I would usually get up.
Matt, for
What's
the
that,
record,
Todd?
we do have an outline. That is true. I'm not wearing my glasses. The font is so small.
Can't see anything.
I can't see
Can't
anything
see
anyway. So that's why I'm all over the
Todd's
place.
in here like this. He's looking at his. Where is it? Where is it?
I need the teleprompter. But go ahead.
So we'll just say it's a 1:00 game. East Coast 1:00 game. I was always up around 7:00, right? The alarm would go off at 7. So always threw on shorts and a t-shirt, went down and got a cup of coffee to start the day, and always had a big bottle of water. We'll get back to the room, kind of shower change, go down, get breakfast, and then I was always getting over to the stadium, especially for a home game. Road games were a little different because the timing of the buses, but for a home game, rolling into Mercedes-Benz around 9:45. And again, had a cup of coffee, big bottle of water. I would unload my stuff and I would go sit in the equipment room. I always like to kind of get out of the locker room and sit in the equipment room with our equipment guys. So we used to have like a college pick'em thing on Saturday with the equipment guys and a bunch of. So the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of getting to the stadium was reviewing what happened in the picks yesterday in the college football stuff, seeing who won, and going through that and just cutting it up with them. But I would always lay out my game plan in front of me, and that time in that space was one last kind of review of any checks, cans, kills, notes that I had, kind of reminders or whatever. That stuff would get put to bed at 10:45, and then I would walk back to my locker room and I would have my kind of uniform laid out. Right? I don't know how you were, AD, but I liked my pants kind of laid out on the ground. I liked my pads down off of the top thing. I liked them on the bottom of the locker. My helmet in the right spot, socks laid out. So I would start to get dressed, a little bit before 11. At 11:00, I would walk in and I would like to have my pants and all that stuff on before I get my ankles taped. I don't know if but I was particular about that. So then I get my ankles taped, walk back out, and I started, kind of my stretching / movement prep stuff at 10:10. 10:10 to 10:30 was my stretching and movement prep. 10:30, I'd go back to my locker. I'd start to put on my shoulder pads. I'd start to have a little Gatorade or whatever I was having before at what time? I'm in the 11:00 hour. However, whatever I said, I'm in the 11:00 hour. So at 11:40, 11:41, I would walk out onto the field, and my throwing routine started at 11:42 because we took QB center exchange at 12:05. And that kind of led me in right to 12:05, and then it was all on the team schedule after that. But that was kind of how I set mine up.
Doing these drills.
That's
all the
it,
time.
right here. That started at 11:42. Get the shoulders right, and then I threw the same 18 routes, 9 to the right, 9 to the left, and then turn around and come in and throw the red zone routes right before we go to quarterback center.
Man, you had that shit down.
So
you had that shit
was
down
mine.
to a T. God damn, you had that down to a T. See, I was real basic. Wake up early. If it was an early game, I'll wake up, call my kids, shower, play a little music to get me woke up a little bit more, get dressed, go eat, and I'll be at the damn stadium. It depends what the times was. If it was a 1:00 game, I'll just be over there early as hell. Get over there early, get all my tape, all my stuff that I need together in my locker, go in the training room, get myself together. I'll have my pants. I'll be the first one in there. I already got my pants on, get my ankles taped, and then I'm out on the field early as hell, warming up, and then I'm in there in the locker room just in my own little world. I ain't a big music guy. I'm more talking to myself, visualizing what I'm going to do. And I don't remember none of the damn times. I just know I was always early as hell because I could not just sit. I couldn't sit at the hotel and wait. I had to get my ass out there. I was ready to play. And if it was a night game, it was even worse because I'm like, I'm anxious. I'm like, golly, man. Like, so I was real basic.
So how did an away game mess up the routine? You can't control when you're leaving for the stadium.
Bus times.
Yeah, bus times.
When you're at home, you drive yourself to the game.
Exactly.
So it's like I knew my kind of little schedule. And our bus times never really, there was one that we had like the early bus, which probably AD went on, which was like way too early on my end. But I think my lights just went out in here. But then we had 3 buses, and none of the buses kind of fit my time schedule. But I would always go on the middle bus, and it was close enough.
Yeah, so that was the only difference. Was now you wake up, you eat breakfast. Now you got to hang around the hotel a little longer till the damn bus leave. But that was the
one of my favorite stories of all time. Tony Gonzalez, one of my favorite teammates. He's the best, right? Unbelievable. But we're playing the Jets up in New York on the road, and the bus times are laid out. Like, Aaron, how many times do they remind you what time the buses are leaving in the morning, right? The first bus leaves at, whatever. The second, the third. So Tony misses all 3 of the buses. And if it was any other player, you would have been reprimanded in some kind of way. But Tony misses the buses. This is before Uber. Takes a taxi to the game, right? Shows up to the stadium in a taxi. Gets dressed, warms up, whatever. Nobody says a word to him. Goes out there, balls, catches a game-winning touchdown with like 6 seconds left. Gets back on the bus. Smitty the next day in the team meeting was like, "Hey, listen, if anybody else misses a team bus, there's going to be hell to pay. But Tony, great game yesterday. Like, well done. You played your ass off, man. Good job."
There you go. He came up and showed out. That's all.
That's right.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Everybody's routine is different.
Yeah.
For home games, did you guys get to sleep at home, or did they make you stay at hotels and in curfews and all that, or how was that?
I was in a hotel. We had to go hotel. So if it was a home game, you had to check in by like 7:30 at night. You check in, you eat, probably do like a team meeting at nighttime, and then curfew was like 11 o'clock. But by that time, I eat after team meeting. I take my little cranberry juice, my sleeping pills. I'm in the bed and I'm out. Like, I was a guy that tried to go to sleep early. I wanted to be fresh as I can in the morning. So
I was the same way. Yeah, we stayed in a hotel. I think for 10 years we were at the Georgia Tech Hotel and Conference Center. Room 731 was mine for the home game. So I spent a lot of time in that hotel room, and then we kind of switched over to a different spot, the JW Marriott over in Buckhead. But yeah, same way. I mean, we were probably similar time. I think we had to be there by about 7, whatever. I always got there a little bit earlier than that. I didn't like kind of by 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was ready to kind of get over and get my own space.
Get yourself settled.
But honestly, after the team meeting or whatever, I'd never even made it to curfew, dude. The best night of sleep I would get all week was Saturday night.
Right,
it was the most sleep I got the entire week.
What was room 730?
That pillow and be out.
yeah.
Was room 731 under Matt Ryan, or was it under a different name?
No, I wasn't that big of a deal. It was there was no alias, all right? It was just under Matt Ryan.
All right.
We would have our numbers laid out.
You had an
Your
alias
card
AD,
would be
didn't you?
right there.
You say it again?
You wouldn't check for the people who listen. Like, they don't know how you guys show up, and like, are your room keys ready, or do you have to go to the front desk to check in just like a regular person does? Like, how does
The
that
team
work?
got you a desk and everything settled. Like, if it was a away game, you got your desk, you got it laid out, and you just pick your key up. If it's a home game, same concept. You got a desk, you park in the garage, you walk before you walk in the door. All your keys are laid out. They give you everything you need, and you walk in through the back. We went through the back way. Went to our elevator, went up. Sometimes I used the hotel service elevators, so you wouldn't be bothered or nothing like that. So that was that. Like, in and out. Like, get myself there early, get myself settled, situated. I'll get my game day clothes out, lay that out, put my socks out, get the shoes set right there. Call the family.
When did you pick out your outfit during the week? And did you have help?
I did. Later in my career, I started having a little help. It was I had somebody helping me, or my wife was like, I put my clothes on, asked my wife, what you think about this? She'd be like, change this or change that. But that was that.
I love it.
But early in my career, I just throw anything. A t-shirt and some big ass jeans on and just go. You get older, you gotta, start trying to clean it up a little bit, look a certain type of way, so. What about you?
Zach, how about you for suits, man?
Now, hold on, Matt. Tell me, how was your swag? How did you get ready? How you put your outfit out? Let's go.
Saturday afternoon was the first time I gave that any thought. But the suit game is different. Like going on TV or whatnot. It's because the lighting too. I didn't realize all of this when I went into it too. Like, you can't just pick anything out, right? It's got to fit with the lighting. It's got to fit with your skin tone and the lighting. How much makeup they're putting on you? How much makeup do you use, Zach? Because you look good when you're on there.
You gotta have the shine. You gotta have the MAC makeup. You gotta have that. It's not fun. It's part of the deal. To your point, you're having the brushes, and I don't look forward to it. But I remember I was walking in Atlanta, and this woman came up to me, and she was very nice. Zach, I watch you all the time. Thank you very much. She grabs my cheeks. You look much fatter on television. I'm like, thanks. I really appreciate it. The camera does add 10 pounds.
So, Zach, this is funny, but my first year calling games, I didn't know about, that you've got to put makeup on before you go on camera until kind of the preseason. And so everything that I had ever done up until this point, there was a makeup artist there for you. So if you were shooting like a commercial shoot, AD, you've done it, right? They kind of do your makeup. They make sure you're not shining when you're on camera. So I get to the first preseason game we're calling, and I'm like, all right, like, where's the makeup artist? And they're like, dude, there's no makeup artist here. You got to do it yourself. So I think this is something nobody realizes is these guys who are going on calling games on TV are like in the little bathroom doing your own makeup.
No.
I had to have my wife like show me how to put like the eye stuff on and all of this different stuff. But I'm okay at it now. Now I'm really
okay
lucky
at
with
it.
the NFL today.
Would you be in there like
We've got
that?
makeup artists there before the show.
A little blush.
The blush, that's right. I don't want to be so red on the screen, man. It's got to come down a little bit.
Yeah. Game day fit. It's just, usually a hoodie, jacket, Jordan 1 lows, and some jeans. Keep it simple. That's kind of been my style here. Todd, he's a shoe guy. He's a sneakerhead. He's
Sneakerhead.
Yeah, every time I see him on the sidelines,
They were some
stacking up
clean
these
sneaks.
guys. Yeah. We kind of compete for who's got the best Jordans or something like that.
There's not. You might compete.
I'm
but-
sorry.
but I guess. It's all
You
good.
do.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Okay, next.
We're getting ready to go week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. Now for the vets, the heart will be racing, guys, but as expected. But for the rookies, they'll probably be on steroids. So take me back, both Matt and Aaron, to week 1, year 1, and what the emotions were like getting ready to live out your dreams and play in the NFL.
So I knew I was starting kind of midway through training camp, but I remember just being nervous, right? You don't know what to expect, the speed, all of these different things. And I remember I used to have these, Friday afternoon meetings with our coordinator, Mike Malarkey, and go sit in his office after Friday practice when everybody gets out of there early. And I sat in there and we were going through kind of the opening calls. And I'm like, Mike, listen, I'm nervous, man. Like if you can just get me a completion, like any kind of flat route, just something out of my hands on the first pass of the game, that'd be helpful for me, right? Just to get into a rhythm. He's like, we got it. We're going to run 0 strong 62 Comet Sync, which is curl flat on the front side, right? Day 1 install, probably the first route you learn how to throw as a quarterback is kind of a curl and a flat that goes with it. He was like, they play like 99%, cover 4 on first down versus 21 personnel. All you're going to do is read hook flat. You're going to throw, to the flat route, get it out of your hands, keep moving. He's like, but they have this 1% that they roll down, they play 3 week, and we've got the skinny post on the back. He's like, if they rotate down, don't even worry about it. Throw the flat and just move on. So I'm like, all right, perfect. I've got this. So we get out there, we run the ball twice, we get a first down with Michael Turner. And Mike Malarkey comes into my headset. He calls 0 strong 62 Comet Sync. I go up under center. It looks like cover 4. Then I see this safety kind of rotating down at the last second to go to 3 week. And in my head, I'm like, all right, maybe I could just throw the flat. And I'm like, F it. I'm going to throw that skinny post on the backside. These are the rules. 5 in the plant. Ripped it out of my hand. Mike Jenkins comes right out the back end, 62-yard touchdown. So it was a cool way to kind of start my career. But I think that speaks to it though, right? AD is like, you are nervous, you're all of these things, but then you get into it and when you're out there and the bullets are flying and it's live, you go into that mode of what and you just go out there and you do what you've trained yourself to do.
Because at the end of the day, football is football, right? Obviously,
Correct.
the
Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or 15-year vet.
That's what I tell
right?
people all the
It's
time.
same.
It's just a bigger stage because the media and all that. That's the one thing I told myself as a rookie year. I'm like, don't make it bigger than what it is. It's only football. The same thing I've been doing my whole life. It's just on a bigger stage now. So that's one thing that I did. Even though I had the butterflies, I was nervous, didn't know what to expect. I'm like, all right, I'm prepared. I'm ready. I'm just gonna go out there and play my game how I play my game. And we're going against the Vikings. Got AP. I remember as a kid watching this guy run people over, making all these crazy runs. I'm like, when I get my hands on him, I'll make sure I'm gonna get his ass down. I remember the first big play I got, right? I line up and I see. I know that they used to pull this guard and trying to crack down with the tackle, and they ain't got no center help. I'm like, if I see this play, there's no way in the way they're gonna be able to block down on me. I'm just gonna tighten down and shoot that shit and get upfield. I seen it. I tightened down. I seen that guard light. Pew! I shot back that motherfucker, grabbed him for like a 6-yard loss. I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, this is, and I was like, I can do this. I can play at this level, at the highest level. Everything I did in college, I can do this at this level. And it was like a confident boost right away. boom, making a big play like that. And then I made another tackle for loss. And then you getting some good plays, some good rushes. I'm like, all right, football is football at the end of the day, man. Don't make it bigger than what it is. You prepare yourself. You get yourself ready. You go out there. You still got to perform and dominate, man. And, I think half the battle is having that confidence going into the game, right? You're going to have the butterflies. But once you go out there, you start playing. You get that little contact in. You start making your plays. Then it's like, all right, I'm ready now. Let's go. I can do this shit all day. You know what I mean? So
I had Aaron 4 tackles in that game against the Vikings, 2 tackles for a loss, 36-4 loss to, or 36 loss to
Hold on, we ain't
the
got to
Vikings.
talk about the score, though. We just talking. I think you asked me how I feel. Let's just talk about
I got mad at the 34-21 win over Detroit, but AD, you just mentioned you shot through the gap. You got you got him down on the ground. You're feeling it. Matt's 1 for 1. His first ever pass in the league is a touchdown. Did both of you at those moments? All right, man, that shit's easy. We got this.
I wouldn't say easy, but it's like it's the same. It's the same thing I've been doing, right? Don't make it bigger than what it is. Football is football, so it was just more that confident boost.
Yeah, I think there was definitely the confidence boost, and then there's also like the week 2 come back to reality boost. I went down to Tampa the next week and started like 3 for 17 in the first half in game 2. So the NFL comes at you fast, man. It's definitely hard, but like AD said, it's the thing you got to realize, right? I mean, we got so many rookies who are playing, coming in and going to make impacts, and you see it more now than ever, right? Younger players being thrust into it faster and faster. It's just football,
That's
right?
it.
And it's a little bit faster. It may be a little bit more complex, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing you've been doing your entire life, and you get used to that pretty quick.
So when you got guys who have been doing this in their entire life, they're rookies, they're getting ready to play, and they don't really contribute week 1. They don't really get involved. Are they hitting you up? What are you telling them to tell? Hey, this is a long process. What is your advice to your clients out there?
That's exactly right. I mean, it is a long season, and everyone's expectations are different. So yeah, you got to tell them. I mean, whether it's a starter, and I always kind of use the guys that I've had in the years past, where they tell me how they from year 1 to year 2, and from year 2 to year 3, how the game slows down, and whether that be an offensive guy or a defensive guy, and kind of keep them motivated, and sometimes trying to get a younger guy to talk to an older guy, because they can talk more football direct with each other than even I can. I can share the stories of past guys I've had and what they've said, but and the guys that aren't playing, again, it is a long season, and there are a lot of injuries, and you do have to stay ready, because the worst thing that could happen is you finally do get your number called and you're not ready.
Exactly.
Not just physically ready, but you're not there mentally, because you've already just beat yourself down so much. So it's just like anybody. You got to maintain confidence. You got to maintain focus, and you got to put all the work in, because you never know when you're going to be getting that call. And it's like next man up. So a lot of conversations with the clients, and a lot of with the players, and everyone has different mindsets. Whether it's an Aaron mindset or a Matt mindset, or a guy who's more of a special teams guy. At the end of the day, they're all in the NFL, and they all have high expectations for themselves. So you just got to you don't coach everyone the same, just like you don't sort of agent everybody the same. You kind of talk to them all and work through it with everybody.
So then, what point are you like, all right, man? I mean, he was supposed to be playing. He's not getting his run. At what point do you start talking to your client, and then maybe make a phone call to one of the guys in the front office or on the team?
Yeah, I mean, look, you always are keeping tabs and knowing what's going on, and so it's situational. Whether you're advising your guy to kind of talk to his coach, as opposed to you going to talk for him, and then he's the guy that's got to go in the building every day. So if I'm over there as his voice, and the coach is going to then come to him and be like, why is your agent calling and talking to us for that? So you got to understand. I remember one time we did that with Sony Michel, and Bill Belichick was not a happy camper about the agent calling. So that
How does that conversation work? So could you just call Bill directly and say, listen, Sony's give him the rock?
Yeah, I think we called the front office, but it might as well have been Bill. But yes, as the years went on, all the conversations were directly with Coach Belichick for sure. But a lot of times you are calling just to check on the player and how they're doing and how they're progressing, and just to get some feel for it. And if the player has some concerns, they might not necessarily ask you to go do that, but it's good for me to be able to know what's going on from the perspective of the team. So when I am having those conversations with the player, or even with their family, and trying to give updates, because a lot of times the players aren't necessarily communicating with the families. So you just want to make sure you're in the know to be able to best represent the player and their family in the best way you can, and put him in the best spot for success, for sure.
Todd, I think anybody who's listening will want to know about how much movement there is between the end of training camp, right, and your roster week 1, and all that goes in, and all that you guys provide for families. Say you get cut from Atlanta, at the end of training camp and you get picked up by the Los Angeles Rams. A couple days later, you got to go in, you've got to fly out. What do you guys do? Like, how do you navigate that space for these? It never happened to me. And I've always had so much respect for guys who are able to handle that and then perform well on Sunday after going through all that.
It's a great question, and it's true because, like you said, you haven't gone through that. AD hasn't gone through that, but there's a lot of guys that may have never gone through that for a while, and then end up getting cut and end up getting claimed or picked up by a different team, and those teams expect you there. Like if you find out that you're claimed or a team wants to sign you, I mean it's instant. You're up and out. So
what is the time frame? What do you got? Like 24 hours?
It depends if the guy's a vested veteran. It depends on how long he's been in the league, whether he's going to be subject to waivers or if he's just going to immediately sign somewhere else. So a guy who's been in the league a little bit longer can immediately sign with someone else. Another one could get claimed. And if they're claimed, which is, I guess roughly 24-hour period from the last cut, yeah, they're flying out that next day, the second they find out where they are. If there's a flight that night, they're flying out. And
so let me give you an example of how this phone call would look, right? I'm the player. Hey, man, I just got cut. Whatever's going to happen. I've got 3 young kids. Oof. Todd, I got to get there. You need to figure out the rest of it with my family. And where do you start? And talk about your team that you have that goes ahead and does that for you.
Oh, yeah, you just nailed it right there. Because you're like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know what I do. Because I yell Jennifer or Julie in my office and say, hey, guys, I need you to help me transition this family. So, and it's funny because it depends. Not everyone necessarily moves their entire family there. If they have kids, some will say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna have you, the family's going to come in on like a Thursday and come for the weekend. And I'm only going to rent an apartment as opposed to buying something. Because the kids are at a certain age and maybe they're in school. And so they don't want to uproot them and take them with them, and I don't know how that transition was for you, Matt. I mean, I do, but you others don't. But for, when
you know well.
Yes, I actually do know from when we went from Atlanta to Indianapolis and how you did it. And everything changes. And Aaron, you know how it is. You have kids, like you don't necessarily they're at different ages. You don't want to just uproot them from school and disrupt everything. But at the same time, you don't want to also be apart from your family.
That's tough.
So it's kind of that fine line. And people don't understand that. Like these people they're football players, but they're also dads and they're real people. And you're trying to work through all of that. And so what we try to do, Matt, and you guys know this, is I try to eliminate as much of that distraction from the player so they can go focus on what they need to focus on, because it's a big enough adjustment for them after they just got cut to go sign somewhere else and then pick up and learn a whole new system, whole new playbook. And it's not like it's automatic, right? They gotta not only make the team, they gotta be productive and stay on that team. So what we're going to do in our office is we're going to do our best to just help the player's family make that transition, with whether it be moving and everyone is going, or whether it be schools. And if they are coming with a family, I mean, our people are down to like finding the doctors, pediatricians, things like that for the player's family. I mean, there's a lot to do, as you can imagine, because it's not something you were planning on, and it's not a city you were necessarily picking. You could literally just be like, I'm out of Atlanta. Now, wait, I'm in where? Green Bay, Wisconsin? Like, never been here before. And you got
It's funny you say Green Bay. Let's go there. Let's go to a guy that's dealing with that transition right now.
Yeah, just
and heading to Green Bay.
It was not the media guy who brought up Micah Parsons on this podcast for the first time.
I think, listen, I think this is our first time doing it. We've got to have at least one current event that's going on, right? I think a lot of this is to who we are and kind of what we're going to talk about. But I think this is what we're going to talk about, right? Like, this is the biggest, at least from my perspective, the biggest news story of the NFL offseason, training camp, whatever, is Micah Parsons going to the Green Bay Packers. And, I want to start, AD, you're the closest to this, right? Playing D-line. What does he got to do in that short amount of time? Because I've often said, like, if there's one position that I think you could just get inserted into in 1 week and go be productive, it's defensive line, and it's a pass rusher.
100%.
More exclusively.
That's similar to what I had to go through in 2017 with my first holdout year. We just got Sean McVay. He was a new coach.
We're throwing everything out today, aren't we?
We had D.
Why did Todd make you hold out? This is what I'm curious.
Aaron,
you wanted to go. I remember.
Please.
Todd told you to hold out.
We had Wade. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. We had Wade.
Yeah.
It was a whole new new defense for me. So once I got in the building, I actually came in the day before the first game of the season. I didn't play the first game, and I played the second week. The only thing they gonna do is they gonna allow him to be him, right? Because they just paid this guy a lot of money anyway. So they gonna line him up, make sure he know the basics of what they need to do, and let him work. And then as he go, they gonna put him in with the schemes. I think anything for him, it's gonna be building that relationship with the guys. He's new in the locker room. He's new in that room, building a relationship with them, understanding how to play off each other. That come with time though. But I don't think they're gonna
take us through like, for him. A defensive call comes in. Give us an example of like, we're playing over cover 3. How would you call that?
It's basic. You can go over cover 3. You can go goal front. Right? You can go a text game. It's basic. It's just terminology, if anything. Like,
and so
you can have the same
if you're
thing
a teammate next to him.
So say
if you're a teammate next to him, are you reminding him, hey, you've got this gap and this gap in the run game, pass rush, go do your thing.
So for the most part, sometimes you do got to do that with guys, but I think that it's going to be basic for him. If anything, I think the terminology is going to be different for him because it went from, like, say if you're doing a text game is you say text game. Sometimes they might call it Rambo.
Explain to people what that
terminology. Is. So a text game is a game with your defensive tackles getting upfield, your defense again setting it up, and then he's wrapping inside. So it's just games like that. You got your twist games. But everybody use different terminology. They might call a test game Rambo or I'm making that up, but exit game, Texas, whatever. It's just him picking up the terminology, understanding certain checks from the guys, and so y'all can be able to play fast. So you don't want him to be out there thinking too much because when you out there thinking too much,
I'm saying like if I were a DC for him for the first week, we're not running any games, right? I wouldn't expect many stunts, crossing patterns.
He gonna pick it up.
Just pin your ears back and go.
Yeah, you gonna let him work, but it's not like a quarterback. You don't got a whole big ass game plan, so it's basic.
Thank you. Tell everybody how hard it is to play quarterback.
So yes, it's gonna be the same stuff for him. They're gonna make sure that he's good, he's comfortable to a T. He got time to pick that up through this whole week. He's gonna be fine. If anything, it's just picking up the terminologies with whatever they're using with that defense and things like that. So
I'm with you. I kind of feel like the terminology or the scheme or all of that stuff, I think that's a little bit overdone, right? Like I think he's going to be fine there. Everybody plays similar type stuff, right? Your timing and rhythm on those games gets a little bit better the more you play with guys.
100%.
But that's going to come. But he'll know what to do. I'm curious, the year you held out, right? And it's similar to what Mike is doing right now. Talk to me about like conditioning levels going into that game, right? Because it's different. It's different playing that first game. I feel like everybody's gassed in that first game that we play. The first time you're playing into that second half, third quarter, into the fourth quarter. But it's got to be more difficult when you haven't been out there practicing, right? Like you can do all the training you want 100%, but it's not the same.
So I felt like I was in amazing shape, but being in amazing shape is different than football shape. It's different when you got a hammer and a shoulder pads on, you got to hold the double team, then try to split a double team, then you got a third down, try to rush. So he's gonna have to work himself back in football shape too. And I know it don't matter how hard you work, how great a shape you in. Football shape is different than regular shape. I tell people all the time about that. Like I train every single day. Boom. I was in amazing shape.
We've all seen it. We've all seen it. The shirt is off.
All day.
You're out there doing.
I'm cool. You put a hammer and the shoulder pads on. The first couple's good, and then it's like, that shit start getting on your back a little bit. Your legs is a little wormy a little bit, so it's gonna take some time. But that come with playing the game. But he gonna be able to.
I think one of the things that people don't take into account enough for week 1, 2 is I think getting hit fatigues you more than people realize, right? Like it's not necessarily the running, right? But it's the constant, like you were saying, the pushing, the getting hit, the getting chipped, getting hit in the ribs. For me, it was always like trying to breathe after you've just been smashed in the ribs and then calling a play 65 times in a game as you're exhausted. Like that stuff, it just takes
a toll on you.
You can't replicate. You can't replicate.
You That's like you got to think, you bench pressing 600 pounds, this thing holding a double team, and then you got to get back and do it again, and then you got to rush. Like, it depends how hot the damn game is that day. It could be a hot ass day. Like all that add up, man, and it's like, all right, let's got to push through. All right, you got to find a way. That's what you're thinking. So it all ties into it, man. It's like them first games ain't easy. That's why I like to get to that third and fourth game when you kind of get your feet under you and a lot better football shape. Then that's when that shit start, really clicking. So
AD says Micah can go from the jump, Matt, for a quarterback to switch systems, switch teams, learn terminology, and go. Obviously, it could never be done in 1 week, but how long could it take to be comfortable in your new surroundings?
Man, I mean, Baker did it
say that.
1 week. I mean,
couple days.
I remember watching that game. I remember watching that game being like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Like, that's so hard to be able to go. He had to have had no idea what was going on. But I think, one of the things that can help you, right, is as a quarterback, if you're a veteran guy, the terminology, all those things is going to be different. But concepts are similar, right? Like passing game concepts are similar. The communicator is key, right? So like for new guys coming in, it is the coach. If the coach can call the play and then tell you what to do, like, hey man, we're going to run whatever the play call is. This is curl flat to the right, and it's this on the backside, 1 high, 2 high, go for it. Like that's helpful, and I think you can do that in a lot of different ways. But I think that's only piecemealing it together for a week or two, right? Like if you're going to have long-term success, I think you need a foundation of timing and rhythm and a knowing of the receivers that you're playing with if you want to be successful, for the long term. So I think it's not really that feasible. I always had so much respect for quarterbacks, that may have gotten cut and brought in week 1 or 2 that were backups for me, and how quickly they would pick up system much faster than I did, right? It took me a while to kind of digest the system and learn it and know it the way that I would. And I always had so much respect for the guys that could do it without getting reps too, right? And go out there and perform. I think it's really difficult, but I think that's why you don't see it, Zach, right? Like you don't see blockbuster trades like Micah Parsons is the equivalent of Joe Burrow leaving and going somewhere different. I just think that position is so different.
Todd, what would be the biggest challenge and your client in such a short term? Is it just the logistics? As you mentioned, you got a great team around you at Athletes First helping everybody out. But from your point of view, the agent, what are your responsibilities to get your client to this new team in such a short time span?
I mean, a lot of it takes care of itself. I mean, the Packers are going to obviously be communicating with the Cowboys. He's going to have his proper equipment all over back, and the things that he likes to have is all going to be there. And it's just adjusting himself to the city and to the locker room and all of that type of stuff. I think it's an adjustment for the player, period, because you're going from whatever nice house you lived in to some temporary housing, right? You're either be staying in a hotel or you're be in an apartment until you can find that house. And there is logistics that are going on. He can't really be dealing with a lot of that right now because he's really getting ready, like you guys were talking about, the playbook and getting ready for the season. But meanwhile, somebody's going to be having to move all his stuff there and family and all that stuff. So there's a lot of logistics and a lot of moving parts for him. But at the end of the day, he's locked in and obviously wants to go out there and crush it to show everyone he's worth the contract and then some. So I'm glad that saga is over. It was probably a lot in the media, which is typical with anything that seems to be going on with the Cowboys. It's just a lot of public stuff.
What do you think? From your perspective, the compensation, right? Like, forget the contract. I'm going to sit on here and tell you I think every guy should make as much money as they can possibly make. I'm for that for every player.
I agree
player on all of this. Yes, I'm sure you do agree. And AD, I think that's how we all felt as players. I never had a jealous bone in my body of another guy signing a big deal, right? Like, good for him. Yep. That's awesome. You've earned every penny of it. I'm more curious though, Todd, about the 2 ones, right? And one player in Kenny Clark. Like, I thought it was going to be bigger than that.
I haven't studied.
Am I crazy?
No, I mean, obviously Micah could command whatever you want to do. You can look back. I don't remember exactly what Khalil Mack went for back in the day, but that's probably the one that comes to mind as far as like the closest big name guy, in his trade. I want to say it was 3 ones back in the day for him, if I'm not mistaken. So I think people could probably see that, but maybe that wasn't there. And at the end of the day, if Dallas didn't want to keep him and then they ultimately wanted to move him, then you take what the market will bear, right? And so they not only got the first round picks, but they badly needed some interior rush help. And so to them, they added a Pro Bowl type player with Kenny Clark. And for them, that was the value.
He is good.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good.
He's one of them guys I used to watch and see on film and like watching his film. If I was playing the Falcons, y'all played against them, I was like, I would enjoy watching that film and watching him because he got some technique and got some stuff with him for sure.
How does this work then, Zach, for somebody like you? Say, put yourself in whoever's Channel 2 up in Green Bay, right, Wisconsin, and you just had this guy come in. What does this week look like on y'all's end of trying to sort out this
sure.
massive story and how we're going to tell it.
Well, you go having arguably, one of the number one players in the National Football League to the smallest television market in the National Football League. But fortunately for Micah, he was used to all the coverage coming from Dallas, where the Cowboys ruled that state, and wherever he would go in that city, I'm sure he was recognized, and there was always some visibility around him in the Dallas market. And that's what it'll be like in Green Bay. It'll be nonstop. I'm sure when the plane landed in Green Bay from Dallas, all the TV stations broke in and took live coverage of that. I mean, their late night news in Green Bay, if somebody tweaks an ankle or hits the waiver wire or is cut, that's leading their newscast. It's the number one thing in town. It always has been and always will be, and deservingly so. But I think having that microscope underneath him in Dallas, he'll be ready for it. He'll handle that easily, right? But it's from you got Aaron Rodgers, you have Brett Favre, and you have now Micah Parsons as, legends in that city. And they love their football. I mean, Matt, you played there a couple times, AD, you as well. I had a beautiful moment covering you guys when you played there. It was the perfect Green Bay Lambeau conditions. You had snowflakes the size of silver dollars, and it was just this beautiful snow globe type atmosphere. I think Julio had 3 touchdowns in that game. Julio Jones, I think, receiving.
Yeah. We lost, but
you remember the losses.
I'm sure it was great for you.
And then it was also the COVID year going up there covering.
That was the weirdest thing of all time, man. That stadium, we played either a Sunday or Monday night game in Lambeau, completely empty. It was the strangest. That was the strangest time. The strangest venue I've ever seen, man.
I got.
But I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Zach. Okay. Yeah. You are first in the first press conference there. You get the first question to ask Micah whatever you want to ask him. What are you asking him? And then I'm going to have Aaron respond as though he's Micah.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wow. All right, I'm going to get ready.
All right.
And Micah, Jerry Jones said recently that he thinks the Dallas Cowboys are a better team now that you're in Green Bay than they were when you were on the team. Do you agree with that? And why do things break down with you and Jerry Jones?
Well, all we can do is see now, but I'm happy where I'm at. I'm just going to go out there and play football. I'm with a great team. I'm trying to find a way to help my team to be successful, trying to win a lot of games this year. So the past is the past. I'm looking toward the future. So I appreciate everything Dallas did for me. But I'm here in Green Bay now. My main focus is doing everything I got to do to help Green Bay win games. And that's to trying to hold up a trophy at the end of the year. So I don't want to keep harping on the past. I'm more in the present, thinking about what I got to do to help my team to be successful in the future. So my main focus is here in Green Bay. So
he's not just a Hall of Famer as a player. He's a Hall of Fame interview guy. That's unbelievable.
100%.
Sorry,
Collective
Zach.
sigh of relief as an agent after you hear that response.
Oh my God, yes. No clicks for you, Zach. Sorry about
That's
that.
right.
That's
Sorry,
amazing.
Zach.
Now I'll tell you what I was
Great
thinking.
job,
Let me
Zach.
tell you what I was really
Question,
thinking.
though,
No, I'm just.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yes.
exactly. That's your public answer. Give us the real what was going through your head. Don't.
Flip the roles. If you guys were in the media and Micah Parsons had to answer with truth serum, what would be your question? What would you want to know?
Did you and Jerry Jones' relationship become bad? Did y'all really was it a lot of conflict between you guys? Were you guys still conversating? Were y'all in good terms, or how was that relationship between you two guys when y'all seen each other? Did y'all speak? How was that?
I think that is kind of the interesting one. And then also, like, what was the point of no return, right?
Exactly.
Because there's back and forth that goes on. And Todd, I mean, you've been a part of all of these, right? And there's posturing that goes on during contract negotiations. And I was always a proponent of, don't say anything, good, bad, indifferent. You just don't say anything and you let it shake out. But, this one shook out different. And when he made the comments like, he didn't want, they were having, conversations without his representation, and he wanted out, right? It just sounded different from the start when he made those comments during training camp. Because we have all heard, I want to be traded. Terry McLaurin said the same thing. We work it out, right? His sounded different. And I would want to know, what was the point of no return? What was the thing, the final straw? And it's none of our business. And so, we're not going to get it, but that would be the thing I would be interested in. What was the last thing that happened that said, no
That's
more?
It, yeah.
I'm done.
I give up. I don't want to be here no more. Like, I'm fed up.
Correct.
I'm ready to move on, kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
If
Go,
go ahead,
Todd.
Todd.
You're about to say
There you
something.
go.
Say
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm just saying, glad it worked out for Mike. A great contract, and I'm happy for him and happy for David, his agent. So no, it's all good.
He's with a good team too.
If he was your teammate, are you thinking and you looking differently towards management and saying, how the hell did we let this guy go? And does that bring you guys together to try to kind of us versus them, or is it always an us versus them? How would that dynamic work if you were a Cowboy right now?
I'll be disappointed because he's a big piece to the puzzle for that defense. He they built that defense around him. Like, he's the guy, and then you don't do right by that guy for whatever reason it is. I don't know. I think it could cause some problems. Guys looking at front office a little different. I don't know and how they really feeling, but I think it started. I know a lot of them guys is upset about that because you need certain pieces to the puzzle to become a team you want to be, to get to you want to get to, and that's the end goal is to win a Super Bowl. And you talk about you losing your best pass rusher, your best defensive player you got. Now you're going backwards, even though you brought a guy in that's a pretty good defensive player, but it's different, right? It's different. You got a guy that you can get you 15
Aaron,
sacks a year.
If he were to have been traded to the Rams, would you have come out of retirement?
No, man. I would have been happy. I would have loved to see that because that Rams D-line is loaded, and to add a piece to the puzzle like that, I would have wished that I was still playing with that damn D-line there. I could tell you that, but no, my days is up, man.
Yeah. I would have retired. Like, if I was still, I would have retired had I had to play the Rams twice a year. And you got Aaron and Micah on the same D line. That'd be difficult to go against. But I think about this, right? Like, so we think about it from different perspectives, and kind of sliding around. But what impact does that make on now, like the NFC North? And if you're JJ McCarthy and if you're Caleb Williams, and now twice a year, right? You're seeing him twice a year. You're seeing Aiden Hutchinson, and you're trying to get your feet wet in the NFL and become a consistent player. Like, the two most pissed off people on the planet were Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy, in my opinion, where you're like, no, anywhere but in division and as young players. But the trickle down on these kind of things, I think, is always so fascinating to watch.
All right, gents, I think it's going to put a bow on the debut episode of the Inner Circle podcast. For everybody listening or watching, thank you so much. And be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, follow along this amazing journey with two of the best ever played, Todd France in the agent game, and yours truly, Zach Klein. It's been a pleasure, guys. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Later.